had a guest on the other night explain to me too, if you die all of a sudden, like in a car accident or somebody shoots you or something happens, basically your spirit doesn't comprehend what happened. And, they think they're still alive.
Right. And one thing which most people don't realize is Missouri had a lot of scrimmages during the Civil War. We had one of the highest numbers in the nation. We didn't have a lot of major battles, but there were a lot of small ones. And also after the Civil War, a lot of people were traveling through, and if someone died, they would just stop and bury them. And frequently what they would do is bury them at the base of a tree and then pile rocks around the tree. So if you encounter a tree in the middle of the woods that has this big circle of rocks, a couple of feet high around it, that's probably going to be a grave. And there's actually one on my mother's property where it was 2 children who were buried in the early 1900s.
Now, did she ever have any paranormal experiences?
Yes.
Well, do you got a minute where you can, tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. I lived on the property where she's on for a while, and one of the things that happened, I had a German Shepherd who was not afraid of anything, and she was my best friend. She was always right there next to me. So we decided we would walk up the driveway and kind of hike a little bit. And we got to this one section. It was extremely cold. And this is in August where it was 90 plus degrees. And it was like opening a walk-in freezer and being hit with cold air. It was several degrees colder just in this one little spot. And I walked through it, and my dog stopped. And I walked about 15 feet on, turned around, and she is just standing there, just prancing up and down and whining, and absolutely did not want to walk through that cold spot. And she finally did. She ran through the spot and got to me. But she absolutely did not want to cross that spot.
Well, I think their animals are really perceptive to different things. I had, with the 8 kids, I had one daughter, that really loved poltergeist. Every day you had to watch the tape of it, But when she was younger, she would have her imaginary friend she would be talking to quite often. And we kept telling her, hey, you don't have a friend, how parents are. And we probably should have left her alone. But I noticed we had cats, a couple cats, and they would be sitting in the living room, on the various couches and the love seat and stuff like that. But they would be staring. They both would actually be staring at the same object, but there was nothing there. And, their ears would be raised, their eyes would be all intense, while, my daughter was talking to something that wasn't there. But it seems like they saw, and then their heads, I was there, I watched it a couple times, like if somebody was moving that wasn't there, their heads were following something that wasn't there. And that kind of, after talking to a couple people that go into, past life regressions and stuff like that, maybe she was, I guess her play friend could have been real. I don't know. So maybe, finding strange things like you're talking about, like walking on a path and it goes cold. I'll tell you another story, and I've told this so many times on the show, but the business I managed, the main corporate, was in a building in Tacoma that was built around late 1870s, 1880s. It was originally a hotel with a bar downstairs. And the upstairs in the hotel, honestly, because in Tacoma, you got the port there, the ships come in, and story really fast, I guess it was a brothel. And I guess there was a couple, prostitutes who were killed upstairs. One was actually cut up in little pieces. And I guess there was a couple shootings in the bar. Well, I had all these employees that worked for me for, I hire a new salesman, we kept all our inventory for all 3 stores down in the basement because it was huge. I would send them down there, to pull stock. And they would come up and tell me that, hey, they saw things move, or they smelt something, or they heard noises. Now, it wasn't just the one. It was like through a 16, 17-year period, it was dozens of people told me this. Like an ex-Navy SEAL, a chief bosun mate from the submarine force. And everybody was telling me this stuff. I never experienced it to probably like the 14th year being there. I went down there one time, kind of late in the evening. And I walked into, a real cold spot. I mean, really cold. And it was like maybe a foot area of being ice cold, but it smelled like lilac. So strong it was nauseating. It reminded me of like the cheap cologne my grandmother used to put on. And I thought it was kind of strange. But then I went down there maybe a month later or so, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder to the point where it hurt. I turned around, guess what? Not anybody there. So I do believe.
Yeah,
I believe there's strange things out there that I can't explain it.
Oh, absolutely. I basically grew up in a haunted house, along with everything. So, and it was a house that we built. So it wasn't a matter of anyone had ever died in the house, but we would be downstairs and we would hear footsteps upstairs, like boots or someone walking, and there was no one upstairs. So I've never been physically touched, but I have definitely heard things and seen things fall off of shelves and different things that should not happen. There's no logical explanation for it.
Well, the house doesn't have to be where somebody died in. It could have been, maybe what was there before that house was built, Another thing, back at the turn of the century and going back before that, it was common, right? Somebody died. They took the body, right? And they put it in the, a coffin in the a parlor. And, for all the relatives and friends could come over and view the body and show their respects. I don't know. It's just, when does the spirit leave the body? Is it when somebody dies, or is that spirit there, with the body for a while? Maybe they can't distinguish that they're dead and they're seeing themselves. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
That's something I wouldn't want to find out,
Well, the property that I grew up on, my parents had a very strange incident when they were first married and they were living in a different house on the property. And they looked out the window and they saw a man on horseback under one of the trees. It was a large oak tree that was kind of in the side corner of the yard. And they thought it was one of the neighbors who was looking for cattle or something that had gotten out. So they went to the door to go see what he needed. And by the time they got to the door, there was no one there. And they walked out thinking, maybe he saw the cattle and, went off to the side of the yard or something. And there was no one there. There were no hoof prints. There was nothing. And again, it had rained rather recently. There should have been hoof prints or something, and there was nothing there.
I don't know. See, I have my philosophy that people can go in and shift in and out of time because there's no such thing as time. So, I got a funny feeling maybe things could be, maybe some of it is not even ghost. Maybe it could be, shifting from one plane to the other or something. I don't even know, but it's just been too many, things reported like what you're talking about, and then you go back and you try to find it, it's strange, and And again, maybe even you don't even have to have something happen on your property. Maybe you went somewhere and something maybe followed you home. That's always a possibility too. I mean, there's cases of that. I had a mystic on my show again back about 7 months ago, and she said she did a cleansing at somebody's house and all that stuff, and all of a sudden she went home, and all of a sudden the next day, right in front of her boyfriend, she was getting scratches down the leg where they were bleeding, and she wasn't doing it. And first her boyfriend accused her of doing it, and then she goes, look, and he saw it happen right while he was talking to her. So I don't know. There's a lot of strange things that is totally unaccounted for.
There are, and it's ghosts, it's cryptids, it's really all types of paranormal activity there's not a good explanation whether it is a ghost or is a Bigfoot or, aliens or whatever.
Well, what's bad is if you ran across a Bigfoot or you had some type of weird paranormal thing where it was, you felt life-threatening, right? So you call up your local law enforcement. You know what they're going to label you at? You can tell everybody. I mean, if I came up to a law enforcement officer and said, I saw a Bigfoot, okay, what would you think?
Well, I was a police officer for 16 years, so...
Well, what do you thought, though?
My background in that's a little different than most.
Okay, if you didn't have a background and you were just in law enforcement, okay, and somebody came up to the story with you that, hey, they just ran across a Bigfoot or this happened, what would you think? What would you label that person? Hopefully you're still there. Uh-oh. I think your cell phone might have died. Okay, well, I'm going to put some music. Oh, here she goes. Maybe back. Let's see. Yeah, I think we lost her. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if we can get her back. But, Bigfoot, I wouldn't want to be out there hiking away and run across one. And I hope I'm calling the right person. I got a funny feeling I probably am calling the wrong person. Oh, I'm calling the right person, but it's not going through. Okay, we'll give it another try. Okay, maybe her cell phone died. That would be a bummer because it was just getting interesting, so I don't know.
If you want to talk to Gary and his guests, the phone lines are now open. Call us at 1-253-203-6695.
Okay, we'll try another call again, and hopefully, that's the trouble with cell phones. I mean, my cell phone sometimes can go 3 hours talking, and then the next time it's dead instantaneously. But well, let's see. Let's see if we get her this time. Oh, what can I say? It's Friday. It's 9:15 over here in Gig Harbor, Washington. And I'm
sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been...
Uh-oh. Now, let's see. So, Bigfoot. I mean, I'm just kind of curious if anybody out there has run across a Bigfoot in their life. And if you have, I mean, how did you emotionally handle it? And you can certainly message us at motorcycletalkbygary@gmail.com. That's motorcycletalkbygary@gmail.com. And, we'll give her another try again here. Gee, that's another thing, too. It could be Skype. We use Skype, and sometimes Skype will work perfect, and then other times it just does not work. Let's see.
Hello?
Okay, we lost you, kid. You still there? I think, hello?
What up?
I think your battery's dead. Well, I'm going to put some music on and see if we can get her back. Something in that nature.